With the release of Update 2.0, the new region, Inazuma, has become the newest playable region in Genshin Impact. To reach the island nation, a player must be adventure rank 30 or above and complete the Archon quest Autumn Wind's Scarlet Leaves. Since I fulfill none of those requirements, I am unable to explore the islands. Legally, that is. Hence this video, where I will use a known glitch to reach the ocean floor and walk on foot to Inazuma. As some of you may know, previous attempts to reach the island through non-boat means has left players with sore fingers and electrified Kayas. Attempting to approach the island using ice bridges causes a chaotic storm of lightning to attack the player. Surviving the encounter and pushing forward has led players like this redditor to hit an invisible wall which will teleport players to the nearest waypoint. Being the foolish player I am, I attempted to find a new way to skirt around this barrier, and what I discovered was quite interesting. The first step in my plan was to reach the ocean floor. Using a guide I found by googling Genshin glitches, it was possible to use a tall character like Kaya to climb down a certain wooden beam in Liyue and walk on the ocean floor. Like everything in life, there are a few rules to follow if you were to attempt to safely traverse the ocean floor. Let me explain with this diagram. The world of Genshin is made up of all kinds of shapes. This jumble of shapes is Teyvat, and the blue line is the ocean. The ocean spans the entirety of the world map and is the lowest point a player is allowed to go. However, the ocean is more like a box, and touching any point of it will send you back up to the surface. Using this special wooden beam, we can climb under the water box, and our Diamond Kaya can safely traverse the ocean floor. Rule number 1. Do not climb too high, or else you will hit the ocean box. In this demonstration, our lovely assistant Kaya sees an odd bump in the ocean and wishes to stand on top of it. In doing so, the top of his head hits the ocean box, and he is teleported to the top of the ocean. The easiest fix for this is to drown your Kaya. Fear not, for he will respawn on the last piece of ground he touched, which was the ocean floor. Now Kaya has learnt his lesson and will safely go around the taller mounds. Rule number 2. Do not touch the alpha plane. What is the alpha plane? First, let's go see it for ourselves, but I'll explain along the way. The alpha plane is the lowest walkable terrain in Genshin. It sits well below the ocean floor and sits on an invisible teleport box which will send you back to the nearest waypoint. The alpha plane is designed to catch players who clip through the world and send them back to the playable space. In this case, it's our first major obstacle, but also our greatest blessing. To reach Inazuma, we'll need something to walk on to get there, and thankfully, there's walkable terrain spanning all the way to the islands. On screen is my first time encountering the alpha plane. It's a very long drop, and when landed on, it teleported me back to the ground above. Walking a bit further along, the ground sloped down to meet the alpha plane, which was the first time I was teleported back to the nearest waypoint. Rule number 2 states that we shouldn't touch the plane because we'll get teleported back, but thankfully there is a way to actually bypass this. Using our lovely assistant Kaya, we can sacrifice him to bypass the teleport command with his death and walk along the alpha plane. Isn't that neat? Rule number 3. Don't do anything but continuously move while on the alpha plane. From my experience, jumping, using abilities, menuing, or even standing still for too long will teleport you back to the nearest waypoint. The only way to prevent this is to keep holding W. Continuing on with my journey, I proceeded with the simplest idea in mind. Head directly towards Inazuma. After a few minutes of running, I stumbled upon some strange textures, placed in the area for an unknown reason. Then, the worst happened. I was randomly teleported back. No warning, nothing. I had hit an invisible barrier. Any normal person may have stopped, but I was determined to at least exhaust all of the simplest options I could think of. My second attempt had me stick close to the western wall of the playable space. Heading too far into the red would have Paimon send you back as normal, so there was no way past that at the moment. Sooner than the first attempt, I hit the storm sent by Baal and was sent back to the start. The third option was to try the east. Descending to the alpha plane using assistant Kaya, I headed straight towards what looked like a giant wall, and what would soon turn out to be one of the more strange discoveries. Upon reaching the structure, I would be met with lines of repeating textures that stretched up and over into an unreachable area. Soon after my approach, Bal got annoyed at my continued trespassing and kicked me back out again. Unwavered in my pursuit, I dubbed the landmass Rainbow Road and carried on. On and on I ran, continuing east, attempting to reach at least the edge of the playable area and see if a path would turn up there. After much running, I reached another strange landmark, the thumbnail of this video. An extremely wide and deep canyon with round banks and steep cliffs. The geography was so strange it had to have been made by a developer who was either practicing with the world building tools or was just bored. The discovery alone was so surreal, I spent the time to go around the canyon and explore both sides of the massive cliffs, taking many pictures. The area looked like something out of Subnautica. After a ton more running around, I returned to my original goal and dropped to the alpha plane. This area ran adjacent to a cliff. This was as far east as I could go. Directly ahead was Rainbow Road. Unfortunately, the terrain available meant a trip across Bal's territory, and a teleport back to Musk Reef. It appears MiHoYo, in an attempt to prevent players like myself from cheating our ways across, sniped a big barrier across the ocean and sent a lightning storm as cannon to cover it up. This journey wasn't all for naught though. Along the way I discovered a few extra tidbits. A patch of dirt for some reason, another large cliff face, a hole in the wall where the planes failed to align, a small island/platform, another place the floor failed to align, and of course Rainbow Road and the Great Canyon. While I have tried a couple other alternative routes to Inazuma, my attempts came up short. I still have a couple more ideas to try. It still seems unlikely anything outside of direct teleportation over the barrier will work. The initial glitch of getting under the water was already known to MiHoYo and was partially patched, and if this video blows up, it's likely to be properly fixed. So before that happens, hit like and subscribe, and take a dive under the waters of Teyvat, and come back and tell me what you found in the comments below. If you have a suggestion on ways we could attempt to sneak across the waters to Inazuma, comment below as well, and we'll give it a try. Also, I know I could just do the Ascension quest like a normal person, but I was too lazy to do it when I was able, and now I have so much adventure XP, I'm afraid that I'll be so underleveled and underpowered, I'll be beat up by Timmy's pigeons.